Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby. This is a one-stop shop. I do it all, you get it all. So, for those of you that are not new, I'm so sorry I went MIA. I had like 4 different vlogs to give y'all, and my Mac crashed, which I can't really even be mad. I knew it was going to happen any day because it was like 2012 and I literally only used it to edit my vlogs. So I still have all the content, but for me to re-edit all that, probably not gonna happen. But I have some even better vlogs coming for you guys, which is the big secret that I've been holding for months, that I've been talking about for a lot of these vlogs. I've been keeping like this big secret that you guys know of. So for now, today, I wanted to just do a sit down with you guys, and I wanted to talk about my experience with birth control and quitting birth control. I love that it's becoming a lot more popular, like the actual, the real shit is coming out to do with birth control and how dangerous it is. So I want to give my experience. I've talked about this a lot on my Instagram, but I've never done like a full length sit down with what that is. So that's what today's gonna be. And where do I even begin? So I first was prescribed birth control. I think I was 17 years old. It was kind of a big deal because I was raised Catholic, so you don't just go get on birth control. But it was obviously not for birth control. It was for my periods. I had really painful periods, which a lot of the women in my family did. And so that's why I originally got on birth control. I was on the pill, and you know, I guess I never really was, like, now that I think about it, I was never really told, like, the side effects of birth control and what it even was doing. I was never even really educated about, like, what a menstrual cycle is, like, in the first place. And I don't think any woman is, and especially not when you go to the doctor, which is kind of crazy. Now being 27 as a full-blown adult, I'm, like, just the past couple years just now learning about like what a menstrual cycle is, you know, the different phases of a woman's hormonal cycle and all of that stuff, which is crazy. So yeah, I was prescribed birth control when I was 17, and long story short, there was a bunch of things that I do, like obviously I could never have the proof that the birth control caused that, but I do think it was the reason for all of these issues. I was always sick. Like I had gallstones at one point. I had my gallbladder removed. I had shingles. All at a young age, like 17 years old, I had shingles. I always had like terrible joint pain, fatigue, depression, anxiety, so many different things. Obviously, I think that was a slew of like, you know, a combination of things to do with my environment, but I do think the birth control was absolutely causing a butterfly effect for these other issues, because if you think about it, it's definitely not natural for your hormones to be chemically altered, and that's what birth control is. It's chemically altering your hormones, and a period or a menstrual cycle of a woman is literally every single week our hormones are changing. And so when you're chemically altering that, like of course there would be things to follow. So you know, that whole period of my life is such a blur because there was so much trauma and there was so much other things going on. So I mainly want to talk about like me quitting it and my experience with that, because I think a lot of people are just confused like where to go, what to do when you do quit that. So I quit birth control. Before I get into that, I have tried to kill myself 3 times, and when I look back, every single time that I have tried to kill myself was a few days after missing the pill. So I would miss, because you know when you're on the pill you're supposed to take it at the same exact time every single day. I would miss like a day or 2 days, or just take it at a different time, and it would literally make me crazy. Like I would know something, like I would wake up and not be okay, but I would know that something, like I would know it wasn't me, if that makes sense. Like I would wake up and literally be like suicidal and anxious and confused, but like in my spirit I knew, I was like, this isn't me, like this doesn't feel like me. So I do think that all of my suicidal ideation maybe not all of it because there was a bunch of lifestyle factors at play, but I do think it was like the trigger to like make me actually want to do it, which is really scary. You know, when you're on this for years, like I said, I quit just a couple years ago. So I quit in 2019, January 2019, or no. I can't remember if it was 2019 or if it was 2020, but I do remember it was January because it was like a new year, and that's like, it was like 6 months after I had met my holistic doctor, so I was learning all about holistic medicine, and I was learning that we as women hold 3 generations of our mother's trauma in our womb, which is crazy. If you think about it, women, this is why women are so incredible and why we're different than men, because we literally have a connection to the void or to death. Like our womb is that dark, empty space that men just do not have that, and that's why we're more emotional creatures, and we're literally connected to the other side. Like that is where like our portal for other souls come through, our womb. Like we create life there. So it's kind of crazy and really deep if you think about it. But I quit, I believe, January 2019. I think it could have been 2020, so that doesn't matter. But that was from me, that was after me being on it since I was 17. So that was, I mean, years. I don't even know how many years that was, but years of me being on it. And I shouldn't have quit cold turkey, but I just quit cold turkey. I shouldn't have done that because my doctor told me not to do that, but if you know me, I'm an extremist and I'm just gonna do what I want when I want. So that was like the most stupid thing I could have done. And I'm gonna show you guys why. I have a reel on my Instagram that I will show you guys on my phone. I'll just put it up to the camera and show you guys what happened to me. So I quit birth control. Instantly, I felt better. Like mentally, I felt better. But physically was a mess. Like my skin, I've never had acne in my life. My skin looked worse than it's ever looked in its life. I ended up getting cysts. I ended up getting kidney stones that we couldn't figure out what it was. Like we could not figure out that I had kidney stones for months. So I was like going on about life with kidney stones for like months and months. Like I want to say like almost 6 to 9 months. I was like going on with kidney stones. And I knew something was wrong. Obviously the way my skin looked, again, I'll show you guys, but I didn't know it was because I knew it was more than just like a hormonal thing. But I say this to say like your hormones are so important. Men and women both, our hormones are so important, because I find a lot of people's issues, I do think, starts with their hormones. So my hormones were out of whack. I should have weaned off like my doctor wanted me to do, but I didn't. So she ended up putting me on progesterone for like 6 months and just slowly like dosing me on that, and then slowly cutting that back each month until my hormones were regulated again. But my skin was absolutely horrendous. I was mortified looking at myself, but even aside from the way I looked, I felt like it was weird, because on the outside, like I felt so embarrassed. I had never looked that way before. I had never had acne before. But at the same time, like mentally and physically, I knew things were balancing out. My mental health was 10 times better. I felt like I was a lot more regulated, just my nervous system in general, but also my ability to cope with things. You know, like if I got bad news, if I had a bad day, if something happened, I just felt a lot more regulated and like I could cope with that like an adult. I didn't feel like a child anymore, just like reacting, and everything was like 10 times worse than it was. And then also physically, it was crazy, you guys, because obviously, if you don't know, most of you know because you know me from Instagram, you've seen my body, but I'm a naturally very small person. And so it was the craziest thing when I got off birth control. For like 4 or 5 months, like my boobs hurt so bad, but I could physically see them growing. Like I struggled with keeping weight on forever for what I thought was my whole life, but really it was the birth control. Like I literally couldn't keep weight on. I know some women have the opposite problem where they gain a bunch of weight and can't lose it. I had the opposite. Like I could not keep weight on. And if anybody knows me, you know I eat. I eat like more than like a 500-pound man. I eat a lot of food. So it just was never like, it was never making sense. Like I could never keep weight on. So for like 4 or 5 months, I could literally feel my body growing. It's almost like it was stunted when I got on the birth control, and then it was like trying to play catch up when I got off of it. So it was painful, but it was kind of exciting too, because I was kind of seeing myself like turn into a woman for the first time at like however old I was, 22, 23, 24, I don't even know. 24, 25, I don't even know. I'm 27 now, so whenever, I don't even know what year we're in, but you guys get the picture. So my hips too, like my hips, like I remember like looking in the mirror, I could literally see my hips growing. Like I went from, which like obviously I'm still a small person, I don't have like, you know, super crazy curves, but compared to was insane. Like I shit you not, you guys, I was literally like growing into a woman in a span of like 4 to 6 months, trying to play catch up. And I know it was the birth control. Like I just know it with everything in my being. So that was kind of crazy. It took me like a good year to fully clear my skin up. So I'll show you guys this reel now because I want to show you my before and afters. I'm gonna mute it. So this is the after. Okay, let me get to like the beginning of it. So this is a reel that I have on my Instagram from quite a while ago. So I'm gonna mute it because I don't want to get in trouble for the music, but I want to show you guys the difference in my skin. And if anybody on here watching, this is going to be controversial, this is going to offend some people, but aside from birth control and all that stuff, if you struggle with acne, that is not normal. I'm gonna tell you that right now. As someone who has studied holistic medicine for a long time, and also as someone who is a licensed cosmetologist and studied skin, everybody is going to keep telling everyone that acne is normal. It's a normal part of life. It's not normal. It's not normal. Your skin is connected to different areas in your body, and it will show you exactly what is what. You know, like this is hormonal. This could be your liver, this could be your lungs, like wherever you're breaking out, it's telling you something is going on internally. And almost always, I think this about a lot of chronic diseases, acne, people that struggle with mental health issues, like almost always, I think it's a lack of your lymph being able to drain and detox. Your lymph, you have a lymph system all over your body, and that is what is it's like the garbage can of your body. And if that is not being drained properly, it's coming out in your skin. People with eczema, psoriasis, acne, all of those things, those are all curable. And it's going to offend people, but I'm going to tell you that. And I feel confident in saying that because I've struggled with all of them. But that's a different topic. So let me show you guys my before and afters. And this is absolutely mortifying. Like, I can't even believe I showed this on the internet. But I've never had skin like this, you guys. It's cystic. Like, my body was just purging. But you can see it gets better and better and better. Look at that. Look at that. So what was happening is my body, it's like all that shit that was backed up in my body was coming out through my skin. So that was my skin after. It took about a year to clear up. And I'll get more into the details of like what I did to take care of my body. But yeah, you guys get the point. And then obviously, like you can see my skin now. So my skin's great now, but I've never had skin like that in my life. So that was the biggest change, is like my skin was just purging. That's all that was happening. That painful cystic acne is your body showing you something is not moving properly internally. Another thing I noticed is the actual blood of my cycle itself changed as well. So another thing that's going to be controversial that a lot of people are going to be triggered by, I've gotten beef for this on the internet for years, and I don't care, I'm going to keep saying it. Clotted blood is not normal, and almost every woman is experiencing that. Your blood should be ruby red, and it should be liquid. It should not be clumpy. So the tampons are backing you up. And I don't know why it's like so triggering when I say that to people and why people make fun of me. Like, I got slaughtered on Twitter for saying this, but I don't understand why it's not common sense, okay? Like, imagine sticking something up your butthole every time, but then you're like confused why your poop is backed up. Like, why would it not be the same for any other hole in your body? If you did that to your ear, if you did that to your nose, if you did that to your mouth, why would it not be that way for your womb? Your cycle is a death and rebirth, and it's supposed, you're literally shedding the lining of your uterus. So if that is clotted, even if you're not on birth control or you don't use tampons, clotted blood is an indicator of other things going on, whether it's health issues, whether it's trauma, all of that plays a factor. So that's another thing I noticed is my blood went from being like clotted and super dark to a nice ruby red, clear, just flowed out, and it was normal. I had no more clotting. I've never experienced clotting since I went through that purging process. Again, it takes time to regulate. It took me about a year for my skin to clear up, for my flow to be normal, but I completely quit tampons. I only use herbal pads. I will like insert down below, I'll type like everything I use. I only use like a specific type of pads. I do not use tampons anymore. That helped a ton. And I got into like yoni steams. Again, you have to be careful with that because you need something specifically catered to you. You shouldn't just be steaming with any herbs. So be careful with that because the quality of herbs matter as well. Corn soaked tea was really good for my womb. And then I was also taking a supplement that was specifically designed to detox my uterus. So it was a bunch of things at play that helped me get through this. I do have an OnlyFans for Body, Mind, Spirit Wellness, and I've got tons of information about womb health. Whether it's like PCOS, what's the other one a lot of people complain about? PCOS is like a huge one people complain about. I can't think of the other one, but all that shit is not real, you guys. It's not real. PCOS is literally adrenal fatigue. You have lymphatic buildup and your body is not draining properly. So I say all this to say, like, it's possible, but it does take time and it's a journey, and it's like some people snap back. Like, I know some people that can quit it and they snap back and their life is fine, and then there's some people like me who are a lot more sensitive and it takes a whole year to regulate, and they have to like be on progesterone and they have to wean themselves off of things, and they go through a purging process in their skin. So I'm just giving you the real deal because I'm more sensitive and I'm like the extreme. Not everyone's gonna deal with that. But since then, I've never felt better. My periods are never more than 3 to 5 days. It's always even if it's a heavy flow, I never experience the clotting. I don't experience terrible cramping, because cramping is also old blood that's stuck in your womb. Again, that's gonna be another controversial statement. I don't care. What else? Like the acne, the bloating, the weight gain or the weight loss, like all of these things are not normal. And it's really disheartening to watch a lot of women just like go to a doctor, get labeled something, and then they stick with that label. Like the amount of times I hear from women that they have PCOS makes me want to, like, literally drives me fucking insane, because you don't have PCOS. You don't have PCOS. That's not a real thing. It's not. Like, there is a reason as to why you have any ailment. Of course, what you're experiencing is real, the pain and the symptoms. Like, yes, I'm not saying you're crazy, but I'm saying these labels, we just have to be so careful what we identify with, because they want you to think that you need help forever, or that you need a pill, or that you need things in order to cope with these things. And it's not. There is a root issue as to why you're experiencing any of this stuff, just like acne. Just like hormonal imbalance, there's always going to be a root problem, and it's going to be a slew of things. Your environment, your diet, and your emotional trauma and your stress. That's science. Like, that's not even woo-woo. Like, it's already been proven that all of these things affect your body and your mind on a whole. So Yes, I think that's pretty much it. Like, I don't want to get too into this on YouTube because I could talk about this for hours, but if you are someone that needs help with your period, or you're someone that's been diagnosed with PCOS or whatever the millions of other labels that they've given you, or painful periods or painful sex, or you just don't even know where to start with like detoxing your body, my OnlyFans has so much information on this. And resources. Like, I have so many resources. So check out my OnlyFans. I'll put the link below. I'll put down a bunch of things that I did to help my journey. But yeah, I mainly wanted to do this video to just show you guys like it is possible to be off the birth control. Another thing I want to talk about to kind of like wrap this up is everyone always is like, well, then what do you do if you're having sex, or like how do you worry about like because I'm also someone that like I can't do like I'm also like allergic to condoms, and so sorry mom, I'm talking about my sex life now, but women also need to understand, because this is another thing, like I really just encourage women to learn about their body, because we've also been brainwashed to think that like you can just get pregnant, and that's not how it works. So if you're not someone that tracks your cycle, you need to start tracking your cycle. I use an app called P Tracker. I've been using it since forever, since I like ever had a period, and this is what it looks like. So it looks like this. It's a little flower, and it's literally called P Tracker. And you can track everything on there. You can track when your period starts, when it ends, what your cramps are like. You can put in there like days that you've had sex, if it was protected, if it was unprotected. You can put everything in there. So if you don't do that as a woman, you need to be doing that. You need to be tracking your cycle, because again, like, and I really just encourage you to like dive into like what a menstrual cycle even is, because a lot of women literally do not know that there are 4 different phases of a menstrual cycle. So there's only a certain period of time that you can even get pregnant. Like, you can't just get pregnant every day, all day, being a woman. Like, that's not how it works. You literally have your cycle, and then there's a certain amount of days that you're ovulating, and then that you're fertile, that you can get pregnant. And like, that's the science of what's happening, and a lot of people, that's gonna piss a lot of people off too. I know I'm saying a lot of controversial stuff, but this is why like I want to talk about this, because I really want you guys to understand that there's so much that women do not know about their bodies, and especially to do with their menstrual cycle. And when you become more in touch with these things and you learn about your body, you just feel a lot more in control of your body. You feel a lot more like liberated, and I don't see my period anymore as something I dread. Like, it's so much of a better process physically, but also mentally, emotionally. It's not something that I'm dreading. Now I'm like connected to it in a different way, to where I think it's a beautiful thing. Like, the cycle of a woman is so beautiful. So you really just need to learn about your body and learn about what it actually is. I don't want to get into like all the different phases of a woman, but you literally look up the 4 different phases of the menstrual cycle, because this is happening to you as a woman. And if you're a man that's watching, like, this is good to know. If you're in a relationship, or if you're married, or if you plan to ever be in one, you should know this, because women are not crazy. They're literally experiencing a different hormonal balance in their body every single week. Every single week, they have a new phase, and it repeats itself until they hit menopause. So we have 4 different phases. So I think it's just really important as women and as men to know these things, because society and big pharma want you to think that like all of the stuff we experience is normal. They want you to think painful periods are normal. They want you to think acne is normal. They want you to think PCOS is normal. They want you to think shoving endocrine disruptors up your uterus to block your blood is normal. None of this stuff is normal. Just because it's common does not make it normal. So that's like the main reason I really wanted to talk about it. And I've never felt better. I've never felt more connected to myself. I've never felt more in control of myself. And I never had these conversations. Like, my parents never had these conversations with me, or any woman in my life. No doctors had these conversations with me. And it's not to blame them. I don't think they did either. I don't think like that their parents and that generation above them ever did either. So I think it's important as women that we can have these conversations, because there's nothing to be uncomfortable about it. We're mammals. This is human nature, and we have to have these uncomfortable conversations in order to actually heal these things and get to the root of why these things are happening. And I do think this is a lot of reason as to why women experience miscarriages, terrible birth experiences. That's a whole other conversation that I'm not going to get into, but I plan on having natural birth. My dream experience when I have children is to have a home birth, a water birth, or a natural birth, with no medication at home. And I believe in order to do that, I need to prep my body. And so I just know for a fact, like, had I been pregnant before I healed all of this stuff, I think it would have been a lot more, just a much more negative experience. And I know a lot of women that have gone through what I've gone through, where they like quit their birth control and healed all of these things and like healed their womb trauma. They have said like their first pregnancies compared to like after they've healed this stuff has been completely different, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I really want to like prep my body to be the best that it can be. And even if you don't want kids, like, you should want to feel good. Like, you should feel amazing. And I'm 27, I'm in my prime. I believe, like, even when I hit 30, I'm still in my prime. And I just feel like in America and in a lot of Western cultures, women especially think that, like, 30 is like old, and that just like blows my mind and makes me really sad, because I don't believe that. I believe that I'm literally in my prime. So that's why I'm really passionate about talking about these things, because I just think that it's not talked about enough, and I don't think that these conversations should be so taboo. I think that like these conversations should be normal, but it's hard to have these conversations because there is a lot of women who have a lot of trauma related to their womb. And when you say these things, like I said, I've said a lot of these things on the internet, and I've been made fun of. I've been told I'm full of shit and I'm stupid and like all types of terrible things I've been told. And that is weird to me, because everything I'm saying is like common sense, but it kind of shows you how disconnected we are from our bodies. And so that's my goal with this, is like, whether you're a man or woman, whether you're gonna quit birth control or not, I just really encourage you to just try to find the root of why you deal with anything that you deal with, even if it's nothing to do with your cycle. You know, if you deal with mental health problems, if you deal with physical problems and you've been labeled things, I just really encourage you to figure out like the root of those things and actually try to work on your environment, your diet, the people you hang out with, all of these things that affect us, who we are, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So I think that's it. That's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or anything that's like relatable, please let me know in the comments. I love when you guys comment on these videos and you relate to me in these videos, because I know I'm not the only one that's gone through this, and I know that there's a lot of women still suffering, and so I'm willing to piss off as many people as I need, because I know that there's always those few people in between all of the negative comments. There's always like those few people that they just have never been told this information, and if I'm the first person that's told them this information, I'm happy with that. I'm not here to change anyone's life. I'm just here to educate and tell my story and my experience, because I want everybody to feel good. And I just think, I think birth control is killing people. I absolutely think so. I think birth control is killing people, killing women. It's causing so many issues that is a butterfly effect of other things. So yes, I think that's all I have for you guys for this vlog. Like I said, please comment if you relate anything, and I think that's it. the next time you guys see me, I'm gonna keep doing vlogs like this until I can give you guys the real deal of like what's happening in my life physically. There's a lot that I want to give to you guys, but I can't yet. And so until then, I'm gonna just keep doing these sit down videos for you guys to keep connecting with me however we can. And I'm sorry I went so MIA, but I'm back. I'm gonna try to be consistent, and I think that's it. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share me with a friend. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I've got a show coming up for me to perform, and a bunch of other secrets that I can't tell you yet. So stay tuned and follow me on all social medias to keep up. Love you guys. Bye-bye.